Now today we have two recording. Yes, it is recording. Now today we're going to deal a new topic, and it's on page, let me tell you, on page 533. 533. Everybody please open 533. 533. Okay, now as introduction, I'm going to play a short video about the topic is Christianity and medieval society. Now, in this topic, there are three characters. Really, there are three characters that are very important in this chapter. Okay, one of those is Francis of Assisi, and the other one is Saint Dominic. Okay, now we wanna watch a very brief, and then we'll start introducing the topic of this week. Okay.
Frankie was a boy from a large family. He was one of 7 children, and his mother and father owned a business that was very successful. He was a young man in a rich family, and as he grew up, he lived a big, flashy life. But Frankie was also incredibly compassionate. His father owned a store, and one day his father had sent him out to sell some products. He was selling when a beggar came up asking for money. Frankie finished the deal and then left everything his father had sent him with and found that beggar. He emptied his pockets, giving the man everything he had, including the profit. His friends teased him, and his father was incredibly angry. When he went on a trip to the capital, he saw homeless and poor people begging, and since Frankie was a fairly strange kid, he just joined in with them. It changed his life. He decided from then on that he wanted to be poor too. Back home, he went to a little country church near town and had a vision to repair God's house. He thought, well, I can work on this little church, sure. He went and got some things from his father's store and sold them to make money for that little church. His father was angry. He and his father ended up in court, and in front of everyone, he said that he wanted nothing to do with his father and gave up his entire inheritance. In fact, he realized that it was his father that provided even the clothes on his back. So he took them off right there and gave them back. One day, Frankie heard a sermon based on Matthew 10:9, where Christ sends out the 12 disciples, telling them to take nothing with them, not even a staff or money. The sermon inspired Frankie, and he became devoted to being homeless and poor himself. Frankie's story is actually the story of a young man named Francesco, who was born in late 1181 or early 1182, and is known to us as Saint Francis of Assisi. It was not just a small country chapel that he would transform, but it was an entire global church.
Okay, this is one saint. Now the other one is Dominic. Let me, somebody's waiting. Let me, okay, this one, Dominic. Saint Dominic.
Saint Dominic was born in Spain in 1170. His parents were members of the Spanish nobility and related to the ruling family. His father was Felix Guzman, the royal warden of the village, and his mother was the blessed Joan of Azza. According to legend, there were many signs of the great child his mother would bear. During her pilgrimage to an abbey at Silos, Joan had a dream of a dog leaping forth from her womb with a torch in its mouth. In her words, the animal seemed to set the earth on fire. Dominic was educated in Palencia, and he concentrated on theology and the arts. In 1194, Dominic joined a Benedictine order, the Canons Regular in Osma. He became the superior, or prior of the chapter, in 1201. In 1203, he joined Bishop Diego de Acebo on a trip to Denmark. His mission was to help find a bride for Crown Prince Ferdinand. However, the princess died before she could depart, leaving Dominic and Diego free to travel. They then traveled to Rome, where Pope Innocent III asked them to go to southern France to convert heretics back to the true faith. When the strict Dominic would debate heretics, they often could not defend themselves. Many began to threaten Dominic with violence. Despite the threats, Dominic continued to preach, and he converted many back to the Catholic faith. Recognizing the need for a physical institution of the Church in southern France, Dominic established a convent at Puy in 1206. This became the first Dominican house. The monastery remains to this day as the Notre Dame de Puy Monastery. According to legend, Saint Dominic received the rosary during a period of prayer at the abbey in Puy. This allegedly took place in 1214 during an apparition of the Virgin Mary. The Marian rosary became extremely popular following this event. Dominic became famous as a result of his mercy and his work, leading other prominent religious figures to petition to make him a bishop. But Dominic refused. In July 1215, Dominic was granted permission to form his own religious order to promote morality and the expulsion of heresy. The group followed a rule of life which included a strict routine of discipline, including prayer and penance. His order was confirmed on December 22, 1216, and in 1217, Pope Honorius III dubbed Dominic and his followers the Order of Preachers. In 1218, Pope Honorius III elevated Dominic to the rank of Master of the Sacred Palace, a position occupied by Dominican preachers to this day since Dominic himself. After working hard to bring several orders of nuns to Rome to restore their discipline, the Pope rewarded Dominic with a new church for his order, the Basilica of Santa Sabina, which remains the headquarters of the Dominican order to this day. Following his successes, Dominic began a period of travel that would continue for the rest of his life. In July 1221, Dominic became...
Okay guys, let's stop right here because it's a little bit longer and we don't have enough these 5 minutes. So anyway, this I wanted to use this as introduction for this class, today's class. Now, as I said, the topic is the church shaped society and politics. That's today's topic. Yes. Okay. This is not. Yes, this is it. Okay. Now, this is not a topic, but this is one of the chapter over here. Okay. Now the first chapter it says because remember the church was very important in those days. It says church shaped both society and politics in mid-Europe. Now, if we try to organize this, and they call it in Spanish, they call it like escala jerárquica. The hierarchy form is on the top. On top is the Pope, and right at the bottom are the friars and monks. Friars and monks, and over here we talk about this specific, those friars. Asís was a friar, okay, fue un fraile. San Francisco de Asís fue un fraile. Y creo que también Dominic también fue un fraile. La diferencia entre los frailes y los demás eran que los frailes ellos sí olvidaban o they no eran tan materialistas como los otros clérigos, los clergy, otros clérigos en la institución cristiana, en esta jerarquía. Ellos eran mucho más humildes, ¿ok? Ellos abandonaban toda su vida y se apartaban de la sociedad para seguir su religión, ¿ok? That was basically the difference. Now it says nearly, let me see. Nearly, let me go back, sorry. Oh my God, what happened here? Okay, nearly everyone who lived in Europe during the Middle Ages was Christian. Casi todo el mundo era cristiano. In fact, Christianity was centered every part life. Los clergy era como se le conocía a todo lo que estaba en la iglesia. Clergy and their teachings were very influential in Europe culture. O sea, los que estaban en la religión eran muy importantes para la toma de cualquiera, any kind of decision. The church and society. Now, in the Middle Ages, life revolved around the local church. Todo estaba alrededor de la iglesia. Los markets, los festivals, religious ceremony, all took place there, okay? Now, the church encouraged these people to go on pilgrimage. Eso pilgrimage significa perenigrar. Ay, Dios mío, ¿cuál es la palabra? O sea, ir a visitar a estos lugares cristianos. No puedo decirlo en español.
Peregrinaje.
Perenigrar. Perenigrar es la palabra.
Peregrinaje.
Perenigraje. Eso, gracias. O hacer, como dice aquí, journey to a religious occasion. Gracias. Ok, dice, most of popular destinations were Jerusalem, Rome, and Compostela. Y Compostela, donde lo que son españoles sabe, de repente Pinto debe saber, Compostela, queda en España, dice Northwest Spain. Quizás él habrá conocido ese sitio ya. España de Compostela.
Yo no conozco eso.
No conoces.
Yo nunca he ido para España.
Ah, no ha ido allá. Bueno, mira que queda allá pues en España ya. Ok.
Hostia, tío.
Ok. Each of these cities had churches that Christians wanted to visit. Aquí hay un ejemplo de esto. Y otra parte importante que yo quería decirle acá. Hay un sitio en Inglaterra, dice, another popular pilgrimage destination was Canterbury. Canterbury near London. Canterbury es conocido por los cuentos de Canterbury Tales. ¿Quién lo escribió? Geoffrey Chaucer. Este documento es muy importante para la lengua inglesa. ¿Por qué? Porque ahí se escribieron muchos cuentos. En aquella época, en la época media, se escribieron muchos cuentos y este libro es muy famoso. Pero ¿cuál es la diferencia entre un cuento y otros cuentos? Este libro los cuentos están escritos en especie de canciones o poesías. Esa es la diferencia y es muy famoso. ¿Cuál es el chico este? The Canterbury Tales, ¿ok? Ese es un libro. Él queda allá en Inglaterra. Aquí abajo se puede ver dónde queda más o menos abajo de Inglaterra, por acá, por esta área, ¿ok? Muy bien. Let's continue. Now, the church and the politics. The church also gained political power during the Middle Ages. Many people left all the lands and church to the church when they die. Eso es lo que sucedía, pues. When they die, all the lords and all the vassals, when they died, they offer all his lands or the treasure to the church. That's why they were very powerful and they have a lot of money. Remember, they used that money in order to create, to make those crusades. Remember the crusade that we spoke yesterday? So, because they had a lot of money, because of the people who died, they just lended to them, okay? Se lo entregaban a ellos, ¿ya? They handed to them como si fuera una testamento, se lo dejaban a ellos, ¿ya? Many people left church when they die, and in fact, the church was one of the largest landhold holders in Europe. Now, como aquí sucedió esto, donde aparecieron los monjes y los frailes. Estos monjes y frailes, ellos no estaban de acuerdo con toda la opulencia. So, the church in those days, they were very wealthy people. all the church was very wealthy. They have a lot of rich things, treasures, things like that, and properties. And they were not, they didn't agree that the church should be like that. So they create another section in the church that they call it los monks and the friars. Los monks and friars. The main idea, other monks and friars did not like the church political nature. Okay, that's why they tried to separate and live the way a Christian people was supposed to live. So some people were unhappy with the political nature of the church, and they thought the clergy should focus only on spiritual matter, but they didn't. So they focus on these people, fearing that the church had become obsessed with wealth and power. So that's why they become monks and friars. Now, this is an example of, this is one congregation that they create. They call it the monks of Cluny. Cluny, why? Because this is like a mountain, and this mountain is, the name of this mountain is Cluny. So it says, among those unhappy were the church were a group of French, and they were French. I didn't know that. I knew about the friars, but I didn't know about that they were French. A group of French monks, now they're talking about the monks. In the early 900s, they started a monastery, and they call it a monastery in the town of Cluny. This is the town of Cluny. The changes at Cluny led to the creation of religious order, una orden religiosa, the Clunic monks. Across Europe, people saw Cluny as an example of how monks should live, cómo deberían vivir ellos. Now, they were very strict. Vamos a ver, mira, para que ustedes vean cuán estrictos eran. Other new orders, aparecieron otras nuevos órdenes. They created new orders with even strict rules, con reglas mucho más fuertes. Some took vows to silence. Otros decían, simplemente dedicaban el silencio, votos del silencio. Dice voto de silencio is vow of silence, or stop talking to each other for years. Esa era su manera de estar con Dios, okay? Others live in tiny rooms, en cuartos pequeñitos, and left them only to go to church service. Si solamente iban a la actividad de la iglesia, dice, live apart from society. Now, the monks meet. Este era solamente un horario de la congregación de los monjes. A monk's daily schedule. Imagínate, tienes que, Pinto, you have to wake up at 2:30, and then early prayer, and at 3 you have to start praying. At 5, study religious texts. At 6, dawn prayer, another kind of prayer. This is the second prayer. 7:30, study religious texts. A lot of studying. You know, they did a lot of studying. At 8 a.m., morning prayer. A lot of praying and studying, and so on. Can you imagine that? That's Jesus. That's crazy. But well, in that way, they thought that would be closer to God. Okay, in that way, acting in that way. Okay, now we got 3 minutes. I'm gonna read only this one, then we'll continue on next week. Now, women, they were allowed to join this kind of order as well. The community of nuns, que son las monjas, called convents, they call it los conventos, convents, appear across Europe, a lo largo de Europa. Like monks, como los monjes, these nuns live according to strict rules. Ellas también seguían unas reglas muy estrictas. Aquí luego aparecieron los frailes, the friars. Not everyone who joined the religious order wanted to live apart from the society. Now, this is the difference between the monks and the friars. The monks live apart from the society, and the friars, they live with the society. As you see over here, it says, not everybody joined the religious order wanted to live apart from society and live in the city and spread Christian teaching. So that's the difference between monks and friars, okay? One live away from the people and the other one live with the society. Dominicans and Franciscans. These are another religions congregation. They call it Dominicans, and we just watched the video about the Dominican and the San Francisco de Asís, about the Franciscan friars, named for their founder. They were the founders, Dominic de Guzman and Francisco de Asís. Okay, okay, guys. We'll continue. Everybody, turn off your camera, please. Everybody. Now, I'm gonna give you your assignment for next class. Your assignment. Anyway, it's already in the system, in the section of the Christianity and Medieval Society. Now, it's in page 533. Remember, you have to write the title, then the vocabulary. The vocabulary are these key terms: clergy, religious order, Francis of Assisi, friars, Thomas Aquinas, and natural laws. There are 6 words. Now, on page 539, todos a la página 539, 539, you need to answer these questions. Okay, number 1, letter A and B. Number 1, letter A and B. Number 2, where are you? Number 2, letter B. Number 3, number 4, letter A and B, and number 6. That's it. I'm going to repeat it. You need to give the answer to the assignment, page 339, page question number 1, A and B, 1A and B. Number 2, letter B. Number 3, number 4, letter A, only number 4 is only letter A, sorry. Number 4 is only letter A. And the last one is number 6. It's a focus on writing, okay? Are we clear, guys? Anyway, and in the platforms also are all the letters, no, sorry, the numbers question that you need to answer, okay, guys?
Profe, ¿qué página era?
Oh, that's on page 539, 539.
Gracias.
And the topic is on page 533, Christianity and Medieval Society. Okay? Chicos, acuérdense los que no me han enviado, por favor, los que no me han enviado.